It is officially that time of year. We're heading up to the trade deadline, and we actually just got a pretty significant trade. Charlie Coyle was sent to the Boston Bruins from the Minnesota Wild in exchange for Ryan Donato and a 5th round pick. Now, this is a pretty interesting trade. I'm going to break it down from both sides, but I really do like it for both teams. First, taking a look at it from Boston's perspective, they were looking for help in their top 6 for their playoff push because David Pastrnak is going to be injured for a little bit. There's rumors that they're interested in Mark Stone, Panarin, all those guys, and I honestly thought if there was going to be a trade with Minnesota, it was going to be them shipping off Eric Staal, but they actually gave up Charlie Coyle, and I like this for the Boston Bruins because they didn't have to give up too much, and Charlie Coyle is only 26 years old. He's a big guy. He's about 6'3", 222 pounds. I think he's going to slot in very nicely. He can play the center or the wing, and this year for the Minnesota Wild, in 60 games, he has 10 goals and 18 assists for 28 points, so obviously you're not getting a really big name player in return, but I think Charlie Coyle is definitely going to help them out. He's scored 20 goals before. He's had a 56-point season. I definitely think a veteran like Charlie Coyle is going to help them for the second half of the season and into the playoffs. Obviously, he's going to help a lot since David Pastrnak is injured, but honestly, when Pastrnak comes back, I think Charlie Coyle is really going to help the depth of this team. So all in all, from the Boston Bruins perspective, I really like this trade, and I like the idea of the team, that mentality that if you have a guy injured, you go out and you get some support, because this is a team that's trying to contend now. They don't know how long their window of contention is, so I really do like this move from the Boston Bruins perspective. Now looking at it from the Minnesota Wild's perspective, they get Ryan Donato, so they get younger. I like that idea because this is a team that, they just have been kind of stuck over the past years. They always seem to get into the playoffs, but they never really seem to do any damage. So I like the idea that they are getting younger, and when Ryan Donato came into the NHL in the 2017-18 season and he played in those 12 games and had 9 points, it was looking like he was going to be a fantastic prospect, but this year he's kind of taken a step back. He's only played in 34 games with the Bruins, and he has 9 points, which he had in 12 games last year, and he's a -11 this year. And for the Providence Bruins of the American League, he's had 18 games played, 7 goals and 5 assists for 12 points. So I definitely think there is some promise with Ryan Donato. I'm not really sure what his ceiling could be. I do definitely think he could be a pretty solid top 6 forward in the NHL if he does max out his full potential, and you get a 5th round pick, which is pretty much just a throw in and kind of a deal sweetener here, because the chances of you getting a solid NHL player with a 5th round pick are really slim to none. But obviously you can never have too many draft picks, and I really do like this from the Minnesota Wild perspective, getting a draft pick and getting a younger player, and they're giving up Charlie Coyle, who is a guy who didn't play a too significant role for the team, so I don't think they're going to miss him too much. And for the Minnesota Wild, they're a team that's trying to get younger while still trying to contend for a playoff spot, so this deal makes sense for them. Ryan Donato is 4 years younger, and I think he can still slot into their NHL roster right away if they want him to. They could send him to the American Hockey League for some time, but I honestly think Ryan Donato will be on their full-time roster. I'm not really sure where he will end up, maybe 3rd line. I'm not sure if they'll put him in the top 6. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out, but this was a pretty significant trade and some pretty solid pieces mixed in, so I'm very curious to hear what you guys think, especially if you are a fan of either of these teams. Do you like the trade from your team's perspective? Even if you're just a fan of the NHL in general, what do you think of this trade? Make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section below. And with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be covering all of the trade news and rumors heading up into the deadline. So with that being said, I will see you guys all in the next video.